Hey everyone, welcome to another live with Movie Talk at Pressplay Cinema. Ooh, seems like I'm having problems here with the technology. This is like the second interviews. Let's work on that real quick. You guys see me well now? If you do, then let's start this. Today we have an amazing friend in the film industry, a woman pioneer. Let's give to Janet Wang. But before I show you Janet Wang, I want you to see what she's capable of with her stunt. Real quick. Let's see. Okay, guys, can you see me? Oh my gosh, that was, woo, I don't know. Anyways, guys, I know that you guys did not get to see that whole video. But again, this is your host, Rose Sanchez. Thank you for coming and tuning in into Movie Talk with Pressplay Cinema. I have this new friend in film, a pioneer woman in the industry. Her name is Janet Wang. So let's give it a round of applause for this amazing lady and her art right now. Guys, let's give it a round of applause to Janet Wang right here.
Hi.
Hey, Janet, can you hear
How's
me?
I can hear you. How are you?
Yeah, my it's just a little glitchy today for some reason, but you can hear me well, right?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. Yeah, there is a little bit of a lag in your video. I
Yeah,
don't know
no
if there's one.
problem with that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask you a few questions and I'm gonna engage you in that questions so that the audience can listen more about you and stuff while I fix this. Is that okay?
Yep, sounds good.
Perfect. Let's do that. Who knows me knows that I go straight to the point. So, Janet, can you tell us a little bit about yourself before I start asking those questions?
Sure. So, just a brief overview, I guess. I am in film, and I do a lot of other things as well. I do a lot of showgirl work as an aerialist for a cosplay burlesque team. I'm also a mom, and I'm also a career woman as well. So, film and showgirl stuff really is not my main career or my main job. Those are my passion projects, but they're equally as important as my career. So I do work in real estate. That's where I get my money to pay my big girl bills from is that.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, we have to make it work somehow, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it seems like my light me ugly today, so it's just freezing in every frame. But what's important here is for people to get to know you and your work and what you're capable of. So we gave everyone a little bit of a rundown on your stunt. So that being
Mhm.
said, I have one question for you. Question number
Sure.
one is, if you could do it all over again, what would you have done differently?
Oh, definitely would have. Okay, so I'm gonna get down and be ugly, and I know that I might have some questions, or people might say some things or whatever. But to be honest, like, um, I absolutely love my children, and I would never give up my life, what I have right now, and everything that I have at this point in my life for anything else. But if I could have a do-over, I probably would have waited till I was a little bit older to have kids, and then focus more on kind of like my dreams and passions, because I was actually on the pathway at about in maybe my early 20s. I was headed towards I was training at a Taekwondo studio, and my master said that after he takes me to the Olympics, he was going to make me a movie star, and he wanted to train me to be a stunt woman, like an action star. And this was in my early 20s. But then I got pregnant, and decided to put everything on the shelf and do my family stuff. And so I got into stunt work and film and everything like that a lot later in my life. Like, I'm talking almost in my 40s. Like, I was 38 or 39 when I went back into everything.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're a busy woman, that's for sure.
Yeah.
As a mom myself, I second your take on that. There is a lot of things that I would have loved to achieve, but it's a little bit of a juggle, because at the end of the day, in place where you have two balances, would you pick your
Hmm.
family or your career? And at the end of the day, you
Hmm.
don't want to leave either of them. So you would go for
Right.
your family, but still try to manage the flexibility of your time to be able to take attention, to put more attention in your career. So I
Yeah.
completely admire that from you. Thank you very much for sharing that with us.
Yes.
Now, that being said, let's go to our second question. Our second question is, what is the part you consider the hardest during the audition process?
Oh gosh. Well, things have changed now in terms of auditions. It's a lot of it is self tapes, so it's not as nerve wracking as it used to be, because I mean, if I don't like it, I can just redo it again and do it as many times as I need to until I'm satisfied with it, which is kind of a cheat. But at the same time, you have the ability to present your best work possible. Now, for live auditions, my biggest, I guess for me, it's not so much the live audition that freaks me out. It's that I don't interpret the character properly for the director, because you're just given the sides, so you're only given like a little portion of the whole entire script, so you don't know what is actually going on. It might just say like, Janet walks in and yells at Bob, and then it gives me my little monologue. Well, am I yelling at Bob because I'm mad at him, or am I yelling at him out of like emotional distress, like, you know what I mean? And so it's like, it's
Right.
the hardest part for me for auditions is interpreting what the actual character, like what emotions I'm supposed to portray for the actual character in that audition.
I see. So when you're out auditioning, what is one advice that you can give the actors that they get nervous in that screen test and stuff like that? What is something that you can tell them to encourage them?
Um, to be honest, be like the best thing to do is to when for me, I've done so many auditions and things like that, and a lot of it has been just practicing. Like I will sit in front of a mirror and just practice and practice and practice and do monologues or whatever. Even if I'm doing a script, I'll say it in front of a mirror until I get comfortable with what I know, what my face is delivering and things like that. So for people who are a little bit nervous with the audition practice, seriously, role play with your friends. Practice on your own in front
That's
of
a
a
good
mirror.
one. That's a good one.
Yeah, and just remember that we're all humans, and the directors know, the director and the production company or the producers that are in the audition know that too. And if you're doing something that isn't hitting exactly what they're looking for, most of the times they'll tell you, "Hey, can you try it like this?" So just practice and just be confident and know that there's a lineup of like 20 other people that are also going to be screwing it up. So like, don't feel like you're the only person.
Right. That's like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I came back here. Hi, how you
Yeah,
doing, Janette? It's very nice to officially meet. You
yeah.
felt for a second you was talking to a weird AI. But yeah, that being said, thank you. It's valuable. At the end of the day, most of us go to castings by ourselves, if not with our
Yeah,
agent. And when we go by ourselves and we see all this competition, it can be a little discouraging. But if you have faith in what you have to give and what you have to give that lens, there's not really nothing to worry about. So
exactly. And like I said, there's a room full of other people that are auditioning for the same part, and they're also just as nervous and scared as you are, and will probably screw up as well. So
yeah, at the end of the day, just pick one in the group and say, hey, let's practice until they call us.
yeah, yeah, definitely, yes.
So the question number 4 is, oh wait, I have a question number 3 here that I haven't asked you for. There you go. Question number 3. What's been your favorite project that you've worked on?
Oh my gosh. I don't have one that I could specifically say is my favorite, because every project that I've worked on, big or small, has been very special to me, just because like I love what I do. I don't do it for the fame or fortune or money or anything like that. I do it because I love the art of it. And so every project that I've ever done has always been very, very special to me. Now, I can say there are certain projects that have stood out more than others. I would definitely like to say that it hasn't come out yet. It's still in production, but the one that I think has been the coolest in terms of like set decoration and the amount of production value in it and everything like that is a film called Z Dead End. It's it's a horror film. It's being directed by Robert Restro, and the cool thing about it is it's a huge production. So we've done the first part, and we still have the second half left to go, and we're waiting for more funds to do the second half. But it's pretty much gonna, once it's all said and done, it's gonna be on. I don't like to make a future prediction, but it's supposed to be as a big scale production as like Sharknado, kind of that thing. And instead of it raining
Okay,
sharks, instead of a shark tornado, it's raining zombies. And so like
that's
so some of
interesting.
yeah
The damn climate change.
yeah, exactly, right. Geez, climate change, like why can't we humans be better to the environment? Now it's raining zombies because of us. But yeah, that one has been really interesting. I've been able to see some of the footage that's being cut in VFX as we're raising funds and things like that, and it looks really, really, really cool. Like I had this huge fight scene on a green screen, and I'm literally fighting nothing, and I'm swinging my swords and doing all this action at nothing, and it was really weird to me because I'm used to having like something to impact or like to react to and stuff like that. And so I'm reacting to nothing, and then I got to see some of the VFX stuff, And I'm like, oh my God, it's so freaking cool.
Yeah, the after the ending product, it's so
Yes.
fantastic. You're like, you guys are magicians. Like, I don't know how
Yeah.
you guys do it, but okay, okay.
Yeah. I know. And that one, yeah. So that one, in terms of like production and stuff, has been really cool. Now, I will say the one that's nearest and dearest to my heart is my actual own feature. Well, it's mine and my partner's feature. We have been filming this together. It's an action movie called Death Merchant, and so we've been in production in this for a couple of years, and we've done this together. He wrote the script, but we both have produced, acted, like pretty much just put the whole entire film together as a team. And so that one is like it's like a baby. It's our baby. That's the best way I could put that.
I know the exact feeling. So, yep.
Yeah.
Well, that being said, I want to piggyback on another question, which is question number 4. You kind of brush it over the surface, but tell us a little bit more about your filming production side of your career.
Sure. So I started out, I actually started out as an actress in theater when I was really, really young, like 5 or 6. I just like did a lot of theater plays and things like that. And then I gave up that acting stuff to be an adult because my parents were like, okay, you know, we let you do this. Now it's time to be a grown up. So I wasn't allowed to go to theater school or film school. So I chose like sales marketing. And then over the years, like I just, you know, like I kept up with my martial arts and I started doing aerial work and whatever, and I wound up finding myself in the stunt world. So I got back into film as a stunt girl. And it was funny because my the burlesque troupe, the Ken dolls that I dance for, it's a cosplay burlesque troupe, and I'm like their one of their aerialists. And so the guy who runs this troupe is also a stuntman. And he was like, we were talking when I joined the team, we were talking and he got to know me a little better. He goes, oh my God. He's like, I'm going to make you a stunt woman. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you have martial arts experience. You have aerial background. So you have very good body awareness and you're used to like, you know, suspending from things. So you would be awesome in wire stunts, you know, things like that. And so I got my foot in the door through the stunt world. And then as I was in stunts, I soon discovered that I could apply a lot of my real world, I guess, experiences and college degree and everything like that to film. So I'm very good with production side and UPM stuff. And I'm a very strong assistant director. And I think that has to do with being a parent. So yeah. So yeah, that I got my foot in the door as a stunt woman, I guess is where I like jumped into the film world.
So, you know what's funny about being a stunt right now? You know, I'm not sure if it was because of the strikes that happened in the recent past, but they're giving a lot of recognition to that people that are on the background always working so hard, probably more than the actor itself. Yes. And I just noticed that they're doing a lot of creative process when it comes to the red carpet, and they bring the stunts with the actor, and then they do some stunt to actually like tell the people, hey, you know, like we're here. This is what we do for this person right here, who you see and taking those hits. That's me. Give me my flowers. So I really appreciate that they're giving the spotlight to that people, because I really feel that you guys work really, really hard and painfully as well. Yeah, that being said, how was it for you to start in the performing arts career from a little age?
So it was really what was cute was now I think I was like 5. I was in kindergarten, and this live orchestra band came to our school and performed for us, and then they let one little kid be an orchestra conductor, and so which was me. They chose me to do that, and I remember standing up on the chair and I'm whispering to the conductor, and I said to them, I said, I don't know what to do. I've never done this before. Well, obviously I'm 5 only, right? And the conductor said, just pretend, just act it out. And so I was acting, as a orchestra conductor. And it was just, for me at that moment, I just knew right there and then that like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing in the world. This is what I want to do. And so after that, every time there was any sort of like school plays or anything, I would audition for that, and I would always get like either one of the main supporting roles or the leads. And it just, as I grew older and got more comfortable with my skills and honed my skills, I just like got better and better and better. And then in high school, I was able to go to a performing arts school that was actually an interbaccalaureate school too. So not only was I able to keep my education or academics up there, but I was also able to keep pursuing my career path as a actress. So.
Okay, well, seems like you, since the very, very beginning, you already knew what you wanted. I love to hear that. There's a lot of kids that, they don't really have the best guidance, and they just go out there and choose whatever just to please their parents. But at the end of the day, you found a way to make that about your own desires when it comes to your career. So that's pretty commendable. Kudos for that. Kudos.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I have like my parents were great in the fact that like I was growing up in a time where my parents were, they're from like Asia, so they have strong Chinese traditions and cultures, but they were trying to raise me in a westernized world. So they wanted me to have the best of both worlds. So they were very supportive in allowing me to do theater stuff and be an actress, even though, traditionally I should have been in music and pay more attention to my academics and stuff. But I was able to keep my academics high and still like do like my theater work. And so I think that's what was the balance that kind of let my parents be okay with what I was doing.
Yeah, well, you found a loophole. You said, I just got to keep them happy. As long as I keep them happy, everything else is going to be well. Good job with that. Let's go to our fifth question. Our fifth question is, what is an advice you'd give to someone that wants to become a film producer?
Oh my gosh. So being a film producer, there's so many different roles as a producer. You have the producer that helps find the money or fundraise the money. You have the producer that gives the money, you have the producer that finds things, things like that. There's so many different roles. My biggest piece of advice for somebody who wants to become a producer one day is to step in the role of every position behind, like from like as a PA to an actress to whatever, just volunteer or try to get hired on just any position that you can do, like be a grip for, try out as a grip and because it's really important to understand why each and every role in film is so important. And as a producer, the more you understand and the more you know what each job and each role consists of and what they do and how much they give to the actual film itself, the better of a producer you are, because then you'll be able to understand the needs of that particular film and what type of people or what type of, whatever will better fit that particular project.
Okay. So when it comes to that same topic of film producing, what is the easiest thing that you think a film producer to be would want to practice with first before engaging into the hardest parts?
Well, I mean, obviously, I meant to mention as well that networking is very important as well. As a like so, but let's see here. What's easy, but also a balancing act though in producing is, I guess, just understand the role and learn what the actual role of a producer is, because there's and also to understand your role as a producer on this particular project, because every film considers a producer like at a different level of importance in the film. And so once you kind of figure out, okay, this is what they expect of me, this is what they think of my role as, and this is what I'm filling the role as, then that makes you a stronger producer in that sense, because then you can fit the mold of what everybody's expecting from you and what you can put out for them as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Now, I do have this question here. I want you to go a little more in depth because there is an audience of filmmakers that will probably have a pen, and they would be like, okay, this is a nice pointer. This is a nice advice. So, what is a challenging moment you had in your career as an artist, and how did you overcome it?
Ooh, so one of my biggest challenges is, and I don't know, I'm sorry if I'm not supposed to curse or anything like that, but it's like keeping my shit together. So I'm really, I'm really good
Yeah.
at putting out fires and things like that. But sometimes when things get too overwhelming, or when it's like something that can like, you know, ruin the entire film or whatever, like it's hard for me to keep that together. And so like the biggest thing for me that I need to work on, I know, is like making sure that I keep it together, keep calm, cool, and collective. And if it is something that needs to be addressed in an assertive manner, to make sure that I take that particular situation and the persons involved into an area away from the main set or the main production, because I have like lost my shit in front of everybody on stuff before, and it's just not, it's not a good look for me, or and it's not comfortable for everyone else. And I mean, given that I did have good reasons to lose my shit, it still wasn't the appropriate place to lose my shit.
At the end of the day, I feel like everyone should understand that we're just human. And when we're on
Mhm.
set, there is a lot of stress. So, ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen, give us grace. Give us some
Yes.
grace. And when we're
Yeah.
calmed down, just let us know, hey, you know, what you did wasn't necessarily okay. By the time we're calm, we will be already self-reflecting on the moment
Yeah.
and be like, okay, that probably was not the best outcome I really
Yes.
was expecting from from that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, like, you know, and a lot of the times it's like just you know, you're in the moment, and you're right, it's a lot of stress and a lot of emotion, especially as a director or producer. We have a lot on our shoulders, and so it is very stressful, because a lot of the people that don't work as a producer or a director, they don't know that once you stop filming, the work still continues. Like, we don't stop working ever. It seems like I'm, you know, you might be getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep because you're still doing work after the actual production is done. So when everybody's cut from set and wrapped and ready to go home, we're still working, whether it's at home or on set. Still, we're still working, planning for the next day and putting out fires that are coming up, you know, within the future shots and things like that. And a lot of people don't understand that and don't see that, because, you know, that's not their job. And so, like you said, give us some grace, because we are under a lot of stress.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things, we're ladies, so we will know how to regulate our emotions. It's not that we're all, oh no, ladies are, you know, emotional and too, no, nothing like that. We're just very in tune with our emotions. We like to accept them the way they are because
Yes.
at the end of the day, we recognize we are human.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big taboo that they put on us women, like, oh, we are irrational, and we're like, you can be irrational too in
Yeah.
any point of your career. You can lose it and say something wrong. It's
Right.
human. To
Yeah.
feminize the fact of having emotions, it's a little weird to me, because it's like, well, aren't you human? Do you
Yes.
feel anger? Do you feel disappointment? Do you feel stress at work and stuff like that? I'm pretty sure you do. So,
Yeah.
you know, the only thing that differentiates us from them is that they don't really talk much about this stuff. And we
Mhm.
really do always try to prioritize having an outlet to put everything out there so that it does not affect us the next day. And I really
Yes.
appreciate that from us women.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And that's like the thing that I've come to realize is that because we're women, we're emotional, and we are like communicators. We're very verbal. We're going to
Yeah.
tell on our mind, or what is happening, or how we feel, or whatever, right, at that moment. And men are a little more I don't want to say introverted, but they are more in, I don't want to say in control of their feelings, but kind of like don't like to emote emotions or stress or anything like that, but it's like, but I know that they have them.
I do.
And I,
I know that they have them. I just think they lack emotional intelligence and the discipline of it. That's
yeah,
it. But
right.
it's probably just because the that upbringing of you gotta go work, you gotta provide, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. So they
Yeah,
just focus on what they think and we're programmed to think it's important. And everything that does less than that or differently, it's just not worthy of their respect, which is
right.
something very again weird to me. Guys, if you really want to know the power that we have as women, especially as women creatives, like we have a universe inside of our brains. So just sit down, take your time to get to know us without the flirting. Some people think that because
Mhm.
we're being very smiley and nice, it's like a flirtatious behavior. Nothing at all. We just love what we do, the art of it. It gives us passion and we dare to inspire. So we want to dare to inspire with you guys as well. So companionship after all.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, that being said, let me see. What is our next question? Our next question is number 7. What is your normal process of recovery after set?
Oh man. So I had a couple of days where it was like back to back. It was two different projects and it was back to back, like stunts. And so for me, after like I'm done that particular project, it's lots of rest and restoration. So definitely hydrate. I tend to get dehydrated when I'm working in stunts because I'm moving around so much and I'm yelling like, just moving so much that I forget to drink enough water or Gatorade or even to eat sometimes because we're like trying to get the shot in. And action filming is not easy, and it's a lot of doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over in case you're catching the master and then the mids and then the close-ups and the handhelds and this person and that person. So it's like for 8 hours you might only capture like a 2-minute clip of the film, and the stunt team is constantly moving. If we're not moving ourselves in actual this actual scene, we're moving like mats, we're getting making sure our stunt guys are protected, we're holding things for safety, we're moving apple boxes, we're rigging people, we're like always constantly on the move. And so after like a big stunt project, the biggest thing for me is, like I said, rest and restoration. I'll take an entire day off, turn my phone off, and just like eat whatever the heck I want and drink everything, like water, Gatorade, sodas,
Yeah, just
whatever.
spoil yourself. You
Yeah,
deserved it. That
yeah,
was a lot of work. You deserve
yeah,
it. Spoil yourself for sure.
yeah.
Well, with that being said, I do want to add it's very important what you just said. You said one of the things I do is I take a whole day for myself. That is
Hmm.
very important because a lot of us artists prioritize our art, our craft, or others people's crafts. And for the sake of art, of course, and I don't judge people that do that at all. The sake of art, it's a very important movement that has changed history in many ways. So that being said, I do believe that taking care of oneself, it's very important, especially when you're in a set where you're constantly acting as someone that you really are not.
Yeah.
It's something
Hmm.
that you want to center yourself with, come back to yourself and get back to your thoughts, your self identity, and be like, okay, it's me again, I'm ready for the next project. That's very
Yeah,
important.
yeah.
Thank you for
It is
sharing
very
that.
important. Yeah, I mean, I've had years of practice as an actress, so I'm able to move in and out of character easily, and I can, cry on command and things like that because I've had years of training. But you're absolutely right. Like after you're done one project, you really need to recenter yourself because like I'm not one where I dive into the character and I live in that character for days or anything like that. But it is still like can be emotional, especially if you're playing a really like rough role. Like I mean, I was the lead, and my particular role was really emotionally hard for me because it's something that I'm not. It was well, I mean, and not most people are. So I was a serial killing pedophile in this
Oh,
role, and
wow.
yes, and that was really friggin'
That
hard.
sounds interesting. I want to watch that.
Yeah, because like not only am I a mother, but I'm not, I don't like to kill things and I don't like to harm children. And so like this film like had me as a character that like harmed children and killed, and I was like, ooh, that one took me, that one was really hard, even though it was like I think I had 4 days of shooting. But like the fifth day, I took an extra day after filming to just chill out by the ocean and and just be me and do whatever I
That
needed.
sounds perfect. That
Yeah,
sounds perfect.
yeah, because it was hard. That one was a hard one. It was like, and it wasn't that I couldn't move back out of that character. It was just like I felt really bad because I'm like, that's not who I am. But I felt really bad.
No,
Even though
I get the feeling.
film,
I get the feeling.
yeah,
Now,
like I know it was a movie and
talking
everything.
about that, and sorry to cut you off because before I forget, you mentioned two very important things. You said something about method acting and about crying on command. So, about method acting, what is an advice that you could give to that people that really get lost in their character and it's difficult for them to come back to
Um,
themselves?
yeah, I honestly, that's a tough one because everybody uh, does their craft differently, and people are different. Like for me, you uh, just have to realize that this character that you're playing is just a character. It's fictional. It's not real. This is not who you are, and you have to like remember that. And even if you like, I mean, to be honest, even if you write it down, like I don't know if you've seen it, but whenever I'm reading a script and I'm getting into character, I'll write down the character's name and then what I think that character is. But then, like in my journal, I'll say, okay, so like for example, this last film that I just did, I played a mercenary. Her name was Raven, and she was tough. She was like conniving. She was like, like to mess with people's heads and stuff like that, and just very manipulative and everything. And so, I wrote down, Raven is this, Raven is that. And then underneath it, though, I put Janet is a mom. Janet is kind. Janet is blah, 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 blah. And so, like, I will write it down and commit it to my memory. And then when I'm done that film, I will go back into my journal and then I'll read it and then I'll rewrite like Janet is this, Janet is that, Janet is this, or whatever.
Well, that is
And
a
that's just
good way to put it. Thank you very
yeah,
much. That is
yeah.
perfect.
Thank
No,
you.
I really think that when it comes to losing your identity over a role that you admire, because even though you said right now this is not a role model for you, this character, but the job is so exciting and all the things that you're doing, it makes you become it just for a slight minute. I mean, obviously, when we say minute, we're talking about hours of on set work, but just for a hot minute we are this person, and to the
Yes.
point that some actors would sit down and be like, who am I really? Like, am I this person, or for example, am I Janet, or am I Janet with these other things that I found in this character that actually feel like me? And that
Yeah.
confusion can happen sometimes. So it's very important what you just said, that about putting the name of the character and their characteristics and then your name and your characteristics so that you never lose track of yourself. That's amazing.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
When it comes to crying on demand, oh my gosh, give us a little tip on that, because I know a lot of actresses, including myself, that have problems with that. How do you do it?
So I when I have to cry on demand, I always I think of like, for me, I'm a very emotional person, and so certain things that really have hurt me in the past or could hurt me, it really, really like just affects me. And so I think about these things like, and I know this is awful, and you know, some people might have other thoughts or feelings towards it, but like I will like think about like something bad happening to my child, or you know, or something like that was really painful in the past, that always brings me to tears, and I'll take myself back to that moment, and like seconds.
Yep,
Tears.
I mean, so that will do the job. Listen,
Yeah.
do you know how many times I've said that I'm like in the shower, just showering, and my thoughts just wander, and then out
Right.
of nowhere, I feel there's a scene, and my son is crossing the street, and boom, and
Yeah.
then I ask to myself, why am I thinking this? And I
Yes.
start crying, and I be like, okay, this is what I gotta think about when I'm on set to get
Yeah.
those tears. But at the same time, I feel so guilty about it because I'm like, why am I thinking
Right.
this? Intrusive
Yeah.
thoughts at its finest. Now let's go
Oh.
to our question number 8. From directing, dancing, stunt, acting, and film producing, what's your favorite field and why?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I love doing everything. You know, there's a little bit of everything out of all those things that I love a little bit, but I would say my favorite thing to do, honestly, is I love being a showgirl. Like I love being on stage, doing live performances, because for me, I love to be able to feed off of the energy from everybody that are in the room. Like they're, you know, cheering me on. I mean, nothing feels great. Nothing feels better than a room full of people like just there supporting you, you know? And even if you screw up, they still love you, and they're still cheering for you, and they're still like, you know, let's go, like blah 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 blah. And so that to me is like my favorite feeling in the world, is being on a live stage. Now in terms of the actual work or whatever itself, like I actually really enjoy gosh, so many things I love to do, but I really love doing anything behind the scenes, especially directing. And not so much because I'm in control, but because I get to bring this vision, these words to life, you know, like I'm
Mhm.
words on paper and bringing them to life and putting them out there for people to see visually, um, in terms of like faces and emotions and actions that's happening, as opposed to just words on paper. And so that to me is like my favorite thing.
Well, thank you so much for that. When it comes to that part of your career, directing, what is something hard that you consider it's something you still need to work on? Maybe a task in the directing field, something that you still need, feel like you need a little bit more practice and progress in. What is a progress that you put in it to make it better?
Well, I'm one of those people that I like. I never feel like I'm an expert in anything I do. I feel like I'm always gonna need to. I'm always gonna be learning, and I'm always gonna be growing. If I get to a point where I feel like, oh yeah, I can't get any better, then it's time for me to move on to something else. Which so as a director, every film that I do or whatever, I'm always learning something different. There's always something new that comes up, and something that I'm learning, like how to redirect around, or how to cheat around, or you know, or anything like that. And so I don't think that there's like one thing. I'm just always learning something different, and I'm always learning on every project that I'm on, whether I'm in it as a director or as a PA or whatever my role is. I'm always learning something different.
Ooh, and asking questions, very, very
Yes.
important. You know what's funny about the asking questions part? That's what they tell you in elementary school all the time. There is no stupid question. You guys have to ask questions. And then we
Mhm.
become adults and we make a simple question that we genuinely have no idea about. And they're like, that's a stupid question. It's like, listen, come on. My teacher told me there's no such thing as a stupid question.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean,
That is
there
amazing.
for, yeah, when somebody's asked me a question, I'm like, God, you don't know that? But I'm not going to say that to them because they probably don't know that, or else they wouldn't be asking me that. And I can't assume that everybody walks into something with the same knowledge as I have, or the same knowledge as you have, or the same knowledge as this
Right.
person, you know? And so I can't be that judgmental. Like if somebody genuinely comes up to me and asks me a genuine question, even if it's something simple, like, I don't know, whatever. I can't even think of something simple right now, but just like something simple. And you're just like thinking like, oh, well, everybody knows that. Well, not everybody knows that, or else they, either A, wouldn't be doing this job, or B, wouldn't be asking this question right now. So,
Right. Now, that being said, let's go to our ninth question. Our ninth question is, what is a tip you'd give someone that will be producing their first film?
oof. My biggest tip for that is make sure you have a budget. Make sure you have the budget in line, because that's the biggest, that's the number one barrier that every filmmaker has, is there's never enough money. And so
Mhm.
you always got to make, yeah, you always got to make sure you have the money, or some money, or whatever money, and then work within that budget. That's like my number one piece of advice. Never overpromise and underdeliver. Just do what you can with what you have.
That's very important. And just to put it out there for those filmmakers, what will be the most efficient budget to start a low budget? I mean, to produce a low budget film.
Oh man. Well, so it just depends on the person's situation. Like if you're if you're in film school, you have a lot of resources in film school. You have access to camera, to
That is
sound,
true.
to, yeah, fellow students who are learning too. And so you have a lot of access to free stuff. And you might be able to do your whole entire like short film, like a 2-minute short film, or a 5-minute short film, or even a 30-minute short film for free, except for feeding the people. I mean,
Right.
yeah, it just depends on your resources, and who you have behind you, and what caliber of film you're doing. Because I mean, if you're doing um like a mainly dialogue film where it's just one location, and two talent, and like not a whole lot of like lighting changes or anything like that, you can do that for fairly cheap, especially if you have the resources that you can pull from, or favors or things like that. Or like I said, if you're a film student, you get a lot of shit for free. So
That's very important, because you said a little while ago something that adds to that. You talk about networking. Well, if you're
yes,
not in film school or you're not in college or anything like that, you can still find those resources with the networks that you worked on. But, I do want to let people know that it's very important to harvest a comradeship relationship before trying to ask for something, because it's very important to have that tact that not only you are trying to work on your craft, this other person is also working on their craft. So if they help you, you're adept, you got to do something for them
yeah,
next, because that's just how we pay it forward. That's just how we work. Hey, you do something for me, I do something for you, and we continue. I have this other friend that can do this for you. Oh, okay, well, tell that person that after they done, I owe them one, and
yeah,
whenever they need something, just come to me. It's
yes.
very important, that comradeship. So
Exactly.
yeah.
It is very important to, like you said, pay it forward, and to if you have the ability to pay people what they're worth, pay them what they're worth. Don't try to shortcut them, because a lot of these people, this is their career, this is their livelihood.
Yeah,
And if you have the ability to pay them what they're worth, pay them what they're worth, because guess what, they're going to show up and do the job, and do the job fantastic for you, if they know that you're paying them what they're worth. And
that's
even, yeah, and to be upfront and brutal, like, hey man, I only have like $1,000 to work with, and this is what I want, and this is my budget for you. What can you give for me that's closest to that, if you can't give me all of that, and then,
right. There you
yeah,
go. It's
yeah.
negotiation. That works really well too. And
Exactly.
I feel there's something that we have to get rid of entirely from the roots: the animosity.
Oh
The
my God.
oh well, that person said that they didn't want to help me, so I don't like that people. You don't know their situation. Maybe they
Mhm.
just weren't in the right space to help you in that time.
Yeah.
Like, you can just assume they don't support you, because it can be that, or it can be they just can't do it, and they don't
Yeah.
want to say, they don't want to look bad at the end of the road when they can't provide what they
Or
have promised or mentioned before.
yeah. Yeah. Or they just don't like, or it's none of their business. Like, for example, like
Right,
I
too.
yeah, as a real estate agent, I have access to a crap ton of cool locations, and I used to help people, a lot of people, with my locations. But I got burnt a couple of times with a few of my locations to the point where I lost friendships over them, and so I no longer have access to, yeah, to these certain locations, and from those situations, I no longer give out my particular personal locations, and not because I'm trying to be a bitch or anything like that, but because I have literally lost one of my like really good friends, like a longtime friend, and she was a mentor for me and everything like that, and I lost her friendship because of a production that used her home and didn't respect the rules that were set forth for doing
Mhm.
this location. And so now when people ask me for help with certain locations, like, certain things, I just say, I'm sorry, I can't help you. And it's not because I'm trying to be a bitch or trying to like covet
You're in
those
all
things.
your right. You're in all your right, because look at it
Yeah.
this way. There's people that are takers, and
Yeah.
they don't have limits to what they take. They don't
Yeah.
care if they're putting your relations or your job in jeopardy.
Yeah.
They just want to take as much as they want so that they can get their ends meet.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
it's very important to have some boundaries when it comes to
Mhm.
your own resources and what
Yeah.
makes you the professional you are. So I agree with you.
Yeah. And yeah. And so, yeah. So when people ask me for certain things and I say I can't do it, it's not because I don't like him or I don't want to help them or anything like that. It's because, like, there's certain things that, like you said, that are boundaries, that are no-goes for me now. And I had to learn that the hard way. Like, losing a friendship like that was hard. So,
I bet. I
yeah.
bet. Like, it's a mentor, something that I mentioned in my last interview. I told the person I was interviewing, I said, something that I've noticed about those artists that are in a higher position when it comes to the network circle. They always say something that they have in common. They had a mentor,
Yeah.
and that mentor had literally paved the way for them to be like, okay, this is where I want to go, because I have the knowledge necessary to continue this path,
Yeah.
thanks to this person over here. And it's pretty impressive that you said that. So and I didn't ask that person, so I'm gonna ask you, since you brought it up. What is qualities that make a good mentor?
Uh, for me, anyways, I love, like, I have several mentors in life. I have, mentors for life stuff, relationship stuff, real estate stuff, business stuff, film stuff, or whatever. And the one thing that all these people have in common is they have this tell it like it is kind of mentality.
Hmm.
They don't sugarcoat anything. They don't try to hide anything. They don't try to soften anything. Like, if I do something and it's stupid, they're gonna say, Janet, that was stupid. Like, what were you thinking? This is where I think you went wrong. This is where I think what you should have done. This is where I think you can readjust, and this is how I think you should handle this next time in the future. And it might not be correct in everyone's point of view, but there's a reason why I chose these people to be my mentor, because I
Right.
value what they have to tell me and what they have to teach me. And so if they're telling me that I screwed up on something and that I could have done it better by doing this, I'm going to listen to them.
Yeah, you may get a little stingy, but you're like, okay,
Yeah.
tell me
Yeah.
what I do.
Yeah, exactly. But for me, a good mentor for me is somebody that can be real and down to earth and truthful and just be hard, just let me have it.
That's right. That's right. Well, let's go to our last question of the day. Our last question is, what unique storytelling techniques did you employ in your latest film to captivate the audiences? You did brush it a little bit over the surface about the tornado with the zombies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, Obviously that is a catch, that is like a little a niche there, but what's the overall message? Tell us
Yeah.
about the storytelling technique that you used.
So for me, like when I tell a story or something like that, um I really want to like not I want to lessen the exposition and make the actual project itself more exciting. So I want to keep people captivated. And by keeping them captivated, since I am in action and I love action and horror stuff, for me to keep people activated, my way of storytelling is to make sure I have something exciting happening like every couple minutes or every 5 minutes and try to lessen the exposition. So to some people that might be too much, but I mean that, and that's okay because that's not your style of film or your genre that you appreciate or that you're interested in. But for me, for my style, that's how I like to do it, is to have something exciting or suspenseful or something happening every couple of minutes just to keep you engaged and focused on the film.
Okay, so when it comes to the engaging and stuff like that, what would be the target audience for this? Is this just horror movie lovers, or is there action too here?
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, I think it depends on what type of genre you're doing. So, obviously, with drama and like period pieces and things like that, you can't possibly have like something exciting happening every couple of minutes.
Right.
But my, like I said, my genres are horror films and action films, so it is easy to make sure that there's something happening, whether it's somebody getting gruesomely killed or a jump scare or a big fight scene or just something leading up to a fight scene. Like, there's always ways to keep a person or an audience engaged. Yeah, and
I mean, you already got me. I'm a lover for horror films. I binge watch horror films. Now, something that I can say as a horror film lover, that I could sit down alone in my house with just a Pepsi and let's not give they not paying me. Okay, water and a movie, and I can just watch it and not feel anything. Now, what do really those jump scares. I can see a monster, I can see someone getting gruesomely killed right there. Nothing. But don't kill animals and
yeah,
don't jump scare. Those two, oh, those get me all the time because the jump scares, you don't know when they're gonna happen. They just happen.
yeah,
You don't
yeah,
see it coming. It's just there. And then
yeah.
animals, what did the dog do? I think the dog has not acknowledged you through all this film, but still you decided that was going to be your first or second victim. How?
Right. What?
Like the ICK.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that being said, we have culminated this interview, but I'm not going to let you go because I still have two more segments. Here
Sure.
I have artistic advice. This is a panel for you to give general advice to all artists, something that you would like to say, something that you look back and you would say to yourself when you was younger, something to pass on to the next generations of artists. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, first of all, I would say, and this is generic because I'm sure everybody says this, but don't give up on your dreams. Keep moving forward and upward. Don't listen to the negativity. There's always going to be somebody that dislikes something that you do, but you're going to have more people who love you and support you than you will hate you and not like what you're doing. So just keep that in mind. And always, like, if you need help, reach out to anybody and everybody. You never know who's out there and who's more than willing to offer you a hand. Like, I was at a film festival, at the Austin Film Festival, which is mainly a writers film festival, and I was networking at the one of it was the WGA after party, and I'm just sitting there talking to some old dude. I didn't even know who he was. I'm just talking, and we're just talking film stuff. I didn't even know he was in film. He told me he was there to support his wife. Comes to find out, he's one of the oldest series directors in the field of like 53 years, and he's directed series like
Wow.
Flash, yeah, for the CW, some of the Superman stuff, Supergirl, like all these cool things. Like he's X Files, Star Trek, stuff like that. And and I was like, I had no idea who he was. We're just talking. And then so I just asked him a question. I said, I don't even know if you have anything to do with film. I said, but how would you go about this? And he's like, well, Clint and I were discussing that when he was
just
making.
talk to you super
Yeah,
natural, like I'm not gonna tell her, she'll find out. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna tell her what she needs.
Yeah. He was like,
That's
yeah, this is
beautiful.
how he starts this conversation. He was like, well, Clint and I, we were discussing almost the same topic, blah, 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 blah. And then he's telling me what they did. And I'm like, Clint who? And he's like, oh, Clint Eastwood. Like it's his buddy. And I was like, oh my God.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's
And I was
combine
like,
this and start
yeah,
from
and
the
I'm
very beginning. Who?
yeah, I was like, Clint Eastwood? I said, okay, so what do you do in film? And then he told me who he was. His name is Michael Nanikin. You need to look him up. And I was just like, holy shit. So that's one of my biggest pieces of advice. Don't be afraid to ask the questions to anybody.
Mhm.
You just never know.
Don't be afraid to ask
Yeah,
it.
don't be afraid to ask.
Just if it's a stupid question. Let's just think about it 3 times and see if it's a easy fix. If it's not an easy fix, maybe if it's an easy fix, maybe you want another question to ask that person, because
Yes.
we don't want them to feel that our first interaction is like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for that. Now, that being said, here in America we have free speech. Not here. Here we have free art speech. So this is your panel for you to tell us a little bit about your next project. When do you feel it's gonna be released? Anything else you would want to share about your craft, about your learning process? Anything? Go ahead. It's your moment.
Awesome. Well, I made the decision last year to be choosier with the projects that I picked. So I chose to do less projects, but projects with quality. So I'm not doing as many films as I used to, but I'm doing films that are of more quality to me, not to, like, they could be crap to this other person or whatever, but to me they're better, they're quality to me, like they're projects that I believe in and that I want to do and that I
Right. That's our slogan. Our slogan is there to inspire. So
Yes.
I feel that you're saying I take on films that inspire me.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that's really what we love.
Yeah, exactly. And so I just finished a film called Axe Grinder 7. It's a franchise horror film, obviously, because we're on number 7. And I'm really excited about this one because, like, the action and the stunts and like the gags, like the gore and the practical effects and everything in this is so good. And I'm just super excited about it because it was just so much fun, and like the people that we all worked together and collaborated on this, and we got things done, and I'm just super excited about it. I can't wait for that one to come out. I think it's supposed to be out by the end of this year. So I'm finishing up my film, well, mine and my partner's film. It's called Death Merchant, and it's an action film. We're in post-production, but we have probably a few more pickups that we have to redo or do ourselves. So that's mainly what I'm going to be concentrating on for the rest of the year. I might sprinkle in 1 or 2 like little things, like a small short or a fan film or something that I want to do. Oh, I totally forgot. I'm producing a fan film festival here in Houston.
Oh, yay! We're producing Pressplay Cinema now is making their first in-person film festival in October here in Michigan. So, girl, kudos to us. Please send me that information.
Yes. So our film festival's in October as well, but here in Houston, and it's a fan film festival. So it's just going to be fan films, different genres. Of course, you got your DC, Marvel World, Star Wars, Star Trek.
Ooh, awesome. I may have something to submit in there.
And so since this is our first year, I'm handing out a crap ton of free links for submissions. And but I mean, it's really low cost. It's like I think the tiers are $8, $10, $15, and $20 for submissions, and it depends on the length. So, $8 for submission is pretty cool, I think. But
hey, send me that link.
Yeah.
My way. I'd like, hey, one of the things that I do with the people I meet right here at Movie Talk, and it's that at some point we create a friendship bond, because it doesn't end here. Right here is kind of like where we meet. Not some of them already met them, knew them before, but here is mostly where we meet, and then we can see how passionate about our craft we are, and we can collaborate in the future if God wills, of course.
Yes.
But I would like to see what you got going on and see more.
Sure.
And how can we get to your film festival? Tell us.
Yeah, so we right now we're locking down a location, and then we're going to have it on Film Freeway, and it's called Houston Fan Film Festival.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Whenever you can, send me the link of the film fest, so that I can put it down the post of our interview. I would like people to go and check it out as well. That's awesome.
Medias for those as well.
Yes, please.
Yay. But yeah.
Now, I do want to, because somehow my internet is acting weird, and I don't want to get out of this window, so that it doesn't take it. It doesn't get more shakier than it is. But tell us how to find you in social media and IMDb.
Sure. So on IMDb, you can find me under just Janet Wang. There's like, I think 3 of us, but I think I'm the only one with a picture. On Instagram, it's at Janet Wangsta. So it's JanetWangsta. And then on Facebook, it's just Janet Wang. And you should be able to see me. It's a picture of me sitting at a desk, some BTS photo from a film.
You look glorious in that picture. I saw that picture and I was like, I would love to use that one for the cover, but I need one that she looks a little more up close. But that one over there is like, oh, you look like a goddess, girl. Oh. Well, thank you so much, Janette, for being here with us at Movie Talk Pressplay Cinema. And we really appreciate all of the gems that you have dropped for us, and for all of those upcoming artists that want to look up to you. Here is all of the advice that you really need, mostly because we focus in what's important, which is how to stay stable when you come into a close up to a character's personality, which is the process of filmmaking. We have learned about the film process, the film production process in other episodes, but right now here I wanted to focus in what was the easiest and was the hardest, in order for you guys to be able to tackle it the right way. So please, a round of applause for Janette. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you, and I hope to talk to you soon again.
Absolutely. I'll be in touch for sure, and I will definitely send you all the links to the film festival.
Send me everything you have for that.
Sure.
Thank you so much for coming, Janette. Have a beautiful day.
Yeah, sounds good. Bye.
Okay, guys, that was Janet Wang at Movie Talk with Pressplay Cinema. Guys, don't forget, this is your host, Rose Sanchez. I'm mad that most of this interview, I was just like an AI. It looked like an AI. Anyways, guys, we have a film festival that Janet is doing hers too in Houston. So we're all here trying to give those opportunities to the filmmaker community, because we know that with this type of art, we can dare to inspire rightfully. So that being said, you guys can find our film festival at www.filmfreeway.com/pressplaycinema. And that's it. And just so you guys can see it better here, there it is. So guys, I'll see you tomorrow with Laura Aleman, which is a prestigious Puerto Rican actress. I'm not sure if you guys watch Big Brother, but I watched it once when she was there. The story was that Big Brother had this group of people coming into to compete and do those little games and whatnot. And for the first time, there was a Puerto Rican actress, not just Puerto Rican that says she's Puerto Rican and doesn't speak any Spanish, or goes to or has never been in the island. Not saying that those are not. I'm just saying, a full blown Puerto Rican that came out of the island straight there to tackle. And I loved her business. I loved her ethic. I loved how she conducted herself and the performances she was giving. Wow. I really loved it. So it stuck with me for plenty years until tomorrow that I will have the honor to meet her right here at Movie Talk with Pressplay Cinema. So I hope you guys had enough time to check up on the festival right there. And that will be all for all. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.